Victor was a charming man in his late 30s, known for his success in the business world. Friends admired his confidence and charisma, often seeking his advice on everything from investments to personal relationships. He was the life of the party, always surrounded by people. Yet, beneath this polished exterior lay a dark obsession that few could see. Victor had a peculiar preference. He was drawn to women who were virgins. To him, it wasn't just about the physical act. It was a quest for conquest, a way to feel powerful and in control. In his mind, these women represented purity, and winning them over was a challenge that excited him. He would often pay friends to help him find young women who fit this description, spinning tales of mentorship and guidance to justify his actions. With each target, Victor felt an adrenaline rush, a sense of superiority that came from knowing he could manipulate their innocence. He thought he was clever, always staying one step ahead. But lurking in the shadows was another secret he carried. Victor was living with HIV. The diagnosis had hit him hard, shaking his world. Though he was managing his health with medication, the weight of this truth was heavy, making him feel like a walking contradiction. Victor often found himself at upscale bars and trendy cafes, searching for his next conquest. He would scan the room, looking for someone who seemed naive and unguarded. He would approach them with a disarming smile, confident in his ability to charm them. Yet, deep down, he felt a gnawing fear. What if someone found out about his health? What if he hurt someone? But the thrill of the chase always overpowered those concerns, pushing him to keep going. One fateful evening, Victor found himself at a cozy cafe, a place known for its warm ambiance and delicious pastries. As he sipped his coffee, he noticed a group of young women laughing and chatting animatedly at a nearby table. Among them was a girl named Sophie, who had a bright smile and an infectious enthusiasm. She was sharing her dreams of traveling the world, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Victor felt an immediate attraction to her vibrant energy. He couldn't resist the urge to join the conversation. Gathering his confidence, he approached the table with a friendly smile. "I couldn't help but overhear you talking about travel. I've been to some incredible places myself," he said, hoping to draw them in. Sophie looked up, intrigued by his presence. "Really? Where have you been?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. Victor launched into stories about his travels, weaving tales of adventure and excitement. As he spoke, he could see Sophie hanging on his every word, her interest growing. Over the next few weeks, Victor and Sophie spent more time together. They explored the city, shared meals, and talked about their dreams and aspirations. Victor found himself genuinely enjoying her company, something he hadn't expected. He admired her innocence, her zest for life, and the way she looked at the world with wonder. As their relationship deepened, Victor felt a mix of emotions. He was thrilled by the connection they shared, but also terrified of what would happen if he revealed his secret. The more he got to know Sophie, the more he realized that he was falling for her, something he hadn't planned for. One evening, as they walked through a beautiful park, the sun setting in a blaze of colors, Sophie turned to Victor with a thoughtful expression. "What do you value most in a relationship?" she asked, her voice sincere. Victor hesitated, the question striking a chord deep within him. He wanted to answer honestly, but fear gripped him. "Honesty," he finally replied, the irony of his words weighing heavily on his heart. Sophie smiled, and for a fleeting moment, he felt a desire to share everything, the truth about his health, about his past, about the man he was trying to be. But instead, he remained silent, the walls he had built around himself feeling impenetrable. Deep inside, he knew he was playing a dangerous game. The thrill of the chase had turned into a complex web of emotions, and he felt trapped between the man he was and the man he wanted to become. One day, while attending a social gathering with friends, Sophie accidentally overheard a conversation that shattered her world. A mutual friend, unaware of the storm brewing, casually mentioned Victor's health status in a joking manner. "You know, Victor is always so careful because he has HIV," the friend said, laughing as if it were a harmless joke. Sophie's heart raced. She felt a wave of shock wash over her. How could Victor have hidden this from her? All the moments they shared, all the laughter and connection they suddenly felt tainted. Confusion and anger bubbled inside her as she confronted Victor later that night. "Why didn't you tell me?" she demanded, her voice trembling with pain. The hurt in her eyes cut deep, and Victor felt his heart sink. "I wanted to protect you," he said, desperation lacing his words. "I thought if I kept you safe, it wouldn't matter." "Protect me? You put me at risk." Sophie was devastated. "You've manipulated me. I trusted you." In that moment, Victor's facade crumbled. He realized the gravity of his actions and the betrayal he had inflicted on someone who genuinely cared for him. The thrill he once felt transformed into a suffocating guilt that threatened to consume him. Sophie walked away that night, leaving Victor in a state of despair. As he watched her go, he felt an emptiness that he had never known before. The thrill of the chase had vanished, replaced by a deep sense of loss. He had not only lost Sophie, but also the respect he had for himself. In the following weeks, Victor fell into a deep depression. He began to reflect on his life and the choices he had made. The weight of guilt was unbearable, and he found himself questioning everything. How had he allowed his obsession to cloud his judgment? Why had he put someone else's life at risk? Determined to change, Victor sought therapy. He needed to confront his demons and understand the unhealthy patterns he had created. In therapy, he began to learn about the importance of honesty and the impact of his actions on others. It was a painful but necessary journey, one that forced him to face the man he had become. As he worked through his feelings, Victor started to understand the gravity of his choices. He reached out to Sophie, writing her a heartfelt letter to apologize for the hurt he had caused. In his letter, he expressed his desire to make amends and his commitment to change. He knew he couldn't erase the past, but he hoped to show her that he was trying to become a better person. Months passed, and Victor began to rebuild his life. He joined support groups for people living with HIV, finding a community that understood his struggles. Sharing his story helped him feel less alone, and he found solace in knowing that others had faced similar challenges. He also began volunteering at local organizations, where he spoke about the importance of safe practices and the realities of living with HIV. Victor wanted to educate others, hoping to prevent someone else from making the same mistakes he had. With each story he shared, he felt a sense of purpose growing within him. One day, while volunteering at an event, he spotted Sophie among the crowd. She was helping at a booth, her laughter still brightening the space. Nervously, Victor approached her, his heart racing. "Hey, Sophie," he said, his voice steady despite the flutter in his chest. "I just wanted to say, I'm really sorry for everything. I've been working on myself, and I hope one day you can forgive me." Sophie looked at him, her expression softening. "I appreciate that, Victor. It's been a journey for both of us, hasn't it?" They began to talk, sharing their experiences and aspirations. Although rebuilding trust would take time, they both felt a glimmer of hope. As Victor continued his journey, he found purpose in helping others. He organized workshops on healthy relationships, focusing on honesty and understanding. He realized that true connection could never be built on deceit. The thrill he once sought in conquest had transformed into a passion for making a difference. Sophie became involved in these efforts too, and together they worked to empower others to make informed choices. They shared their stories, helping young people understand the importance of honesty in relationships. Their bond evolved into a strong friendship, rooted in mutual respect and understanding. As they spent more time together, Victor began to see the world through Sophie's eyes. She reminded him of the beauty of life and the importance of genuine connections. They supported each other, learning and growing together. In the end, Victor learned that the weight of secrets could be unbearable, but the path to redemption was filled with honesty, compassion, and the willingness to change. He understood that love is not about conquest, but about connection and understanding. As the sun set over the city, Victor stood with Sophie at their favorite cafe, reflecting on how far they had both come. The past would always be a part of them, but it no longer defined them. Together, they looked forward to a future filled with hope and possibility. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Victor's story. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this. Your support means a lot.